nice to have Malcolm back on the show today, and I'm outnumbered by Longerbeams. It's going to be a fun episode. Let alone it's been a week, Chuck. Another week.
Well, it has, Jim. And I was talking to Malcolm. Malcolm, welcome. Those of you just watching for the first time, Malcolm's my son. And he came on once before when we were doing the travel thing because he had done some solo travel in Europe. But we were talking and I said, Jim and we're talking about getting Malcolm back on this show because now that we're talking about politics almost exclusively, two old white guys is fine, but a younger white guy would be nice, another perspective.
And Malcolm, white guys makes it much better.
And Malcolm said, just out of nowhere, he said, I don't remember how you said it, but basically he's like, I can't get JD Vance out of my head because of all the double speak and how he can talk for hours and say nothing and all of that. So I reached out to Jim and I said, well, he is, as of this moment, the heir apparent, it seems, to Donald Trump for the Republican Party.
Until this week.
He still thinks he's the heir apparent. Let's put it that way. So Malcolm's sort of asked in a roundabout way if we could do sort of a special edition on JD Vance. And I think...
Well, can we call him the error?
The heir apparent? I'm down. I'm down. So we thought, hey, let's look again. This guy is the vice president of the United States. Beyond what we're getting ready to talk about, I would say most rank and file Republicans would probably, without thinking too hard, would think he would be the front runner in 2028. Now, anything can happen. We all know that. But I thought, let's spend some time talking about JD Vance. So Malcolm, since you brought this up, more or less, what is it about JD Vance that's in your head, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, no pressure.
Besides the fact that he likes couches.
I've been listening. You guys have been beating that dead couch to death. Like, it's just, I don't know.
JD.
Yeah. So for that, I don't know. I feel gross saying it. I'm almost in awe of his ability to spin stuff. Like the way he has a soft aggression when he goes into interviews.
Well, he's learned from the master.
But he's smarter than Trump, which is again a baseline that's like through the floor. Yeah, but like. I'm just impressed by how he can do the whataboutism in a very calm, calculated way, and just almost, put the whatever news anchor he's fighting with or interviewer on their back foot. And so it's just so frustrating. Like, and I can't look at him and not see. It's like hypocrisy, right? Like he's got the whole anti-woke libtard culture about him, and wears eyeliner. So it just bothers me.
Well,
whatever it is.
He tried to spin the Pope this week. It was sort of funny to watch him attempt to spin the Pope. So, I mean, if you're going to go up against what's considered the highest moral authority in the world and pretend you know something, you better get your shit in order. There was nothing like watching him at that statement at that conference. He's kind of like, the Pope should stay in his lane.
The Pope needs to stop talking about theology.
Yeah.
Let's just sit from it. Well, no, Malcolm, it's something I really wanted to say this last week, and I got lost in the ether with this. But you said something interesting because we've all talked about how, and Jim said that, Vance learned from the best, which is Trump with the, the obfuscation and all of that. But something hit me the other day. I was making dinner, my best time to think. And I was thinking about what Jim and I have talked about in the past and Malcolm, what you and I have talked about. And we've talked about the divide between if Joe Biden stuttered, it was full-blown dimension he needed to get out of there. And we've already, I don't know if you listened, Malcolm, last week, but I've said, Joe Biden should have got out a year before he did, in my opinion. Beyond that, Trump can say the craziest shit, mix people's names up, dates, talk about the Air Force during the Civil War, talk about all this crazy, and it's like, oh, it's just Trump. And what I realized is, it is passive-aggressive, but it's not passive-aggressive, excuse me. He's so aggressive with it. Gets away with it. Like he's always on the attack.
He starts at the high end of aggression.
Where Biden would pause and listen to other people, and it would almost give you time to go, wait a minute, that sounded screwy. But Trump's just on it so much. You're right. JD Vance is he's Trump, but he's the anti, or he's the other side of the Trump coin.
Yeah, I don't know how you can be the anti-anti.
Right. No, I mean he's the other side of the Trump coin. You're right, where it's whataboutism and so I live in Virginia, as I know Malcolm does too. So Jim, you haven't seen this. They're getting ready. We're getting ready to vote in 2 days, I guess. on the redistricting or the re
Gerry-
yes, the
gerrymandering, essentially.
gerrymandering. And you can look at it that way, and that's fine. Or you can look at Republican states did it to give Donald Trump seats, and then we're just kind of.
I get it.
It's all bullshit, but there is a reason for it. It's not like Virginia woke up one morning and go, let's just do this. It's in reaction to. But either way, there are these Abigail Spanberger, who is our new governor, and I don't have an opinion on her quite yet. She hasn't done anything that made me go, what the hell? But she also hasn't done anything amazing yet. But these commercials keep painting her as a witch. And I'm not joking. There's always fire behind her, and it's dark. And I'm not kidding you. And they put lines.
Like Charlie Kirk's on.
Well, she's got.
I have a lot to say about that, but let's.
But she's blonde hair, and they make it white. And I mean, like literally, they did this during the election and try to paint her as this witch. Well, now everything is you're President Obama. You're President Obama, and it's like Obama hasn't been president for 10 years. Why
Donald Trump's Gavin Newsom's president right now? So
I mean, why is he in the conversation? Why is Obama in the conversation? And it's because they have to have a boogeyman. It can't.
Well, they hated him. There's like a vendetta with the
because
Trump and the Republicans against Obama.
He was handsome, charismatic, well-spoken, didn't fuck
all
up
the things Republicans have never been since Ronnie.
Right, the economy, fixed the economy, and their boy is doing the opposite. Go ahead, Malcolm. Sorry.
I think there's something in politics where, and I'm not as nuanced as you guys with as much news as you cover and read and all that good stuff, but I do my best. I keep busy. But I think there's this principle in politics where hesitation and like long pauses for thought is considered weak. Like, so there just Trump just full speed ahead. Like he's always seen as like, well, he's got an answer for everything. That's because he has no answer, but he makes one with no facts
it's
and
how
no
you
logic.
Manipulate a conversation without knowing it. Yeah.
Well, Obama would take those long pauses, and we made especially Key and Peele made memes of his his little stutter where he draws out. It's because he's like processing in real time.
What did you ever learn in corporate work or even education when you're talking? Those pregnant pauses draw attention,
right,
and center everybody.
They add gravitas. And what Malcolm just said, I don't know if this was, and Malcolm takes this right away, I don't know if this was conscious or unconscious, but you said he was processing in real time, which is the truth. But when we catch that and we're like, I want somebody who is thinking, I don't want someone who has verbal diarrhea. And when you get to the end of their statement and you read it, you're like, dude didn't say anything. The one thing you say about Obama, love him or hate him, and there was a lot of people who hate him. Everyone that I've ever talked to said, oh yeah, he could communicate.
He had an amazing skill of oratory capability.
Right. Some of them will say I hated everything that came out of his mouth, but oh yeah, he could communicate. And now you've got Trump, who's like, it's like
I'll say the same thing about Hillary Clinton, and she could speak amazingly.
Mm-hmm.
She could deliver a message, and she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I cried the night she did her campaign speech. It was so good, but she wasn't going to win because people were going to be talked down to it. Right? So there's if you talk too smart, you're going to drive the average Joe.
Well, that and the right-wing media just.
Right
after her. And so my mom, who listens to this, and she will agree with this, hopefully, she was a big Hillary supporter. And mom was like, oh, Hillary this. And I'm like, Mom, she's a horrible candidate. And she goes, how can you say that? She's got all this experience. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. On paper, she was the most qualified person to be president who has run in probably the last 30 years.
On paper.
I mean,
had all the experience.
She was a senator. She was Secretary of State. I mean, as far as qualifications go, as far as resume.
She lived in the House.
Right. Well, she was she watched the presidential workings for years. So, as far as a resume goes, amazing. Horrible campaigner. And that's what I was trying to get across to my mom.
She can't speak like a human being. I'm sorry, but it's like a lot. That's what I was trying to get at a minute ago, is that they just, if you go full speed ahead and you don't have a thought in your brain, you just kind of rattle off. People are like, oh, cool, he's got this. But like Chappelle had a great joke several years ago, one of his specials, where he was making fun of Trump getting in front of everybody in front of the cameras, be like, you don't know how scary the things I read in my briefings are. He's like, dude, don't tell us that. That's bad leadership. You're not supposed to let that slip. Keep that shit to yourself.
No,
there's a line, but he's like, I'm gonna blow up all these secrets, and then just speak like the average human being with no filter, because that's, I think, what we're seeing in real time with some people. Like Hillary, I had a lot of problems with her, not policy wise per se, but character. As soon as I'd see her speak, I'm like, she's what are you holding back? It's like, because he's doing that real time. Like, do I let them know this? No, I don't think so. And like gatekeeping certain pieces. Whereas
That's what a
Trump's
good
like, I'll tell you
politician
everything. I don't give
does,
a.
right? That's that. If you're a good politician and you're good at speaking to your people, you know what to say. I watched Pete Buttigieg deliver a speech this week.
Oh.
It felt like watching Obama. He delivers like Obama, right? It was just like, I took this big sigh and said, wow, wouldn't it be nice to have somebody speaking like that in the top office again?
My Make America Intelligent Again. MAIA, I'm all for it. Yeah, no, I think we can all agree, we're all intelligent people. There are things that our government does that I don't want to know. Like, I shouldn't say I don't want to know. There are things that they do that we don't need to know. I'm serious, there are military things, CIA things, and all that. There are everyday workings of the government that I don't need to know.
Yeah, remember, I was a government contractor, so I know some stuff too, and I didn't.
Right. But I'm saying, well, if you're the CEO of a corporation, there are certain things day to day that your employees don't need to know. That's why you're the CEO. You're handling that crap. You're handling all of that so that they can do their job. If it involves their job, yes, they need to know it. So this whole idea of government transparency on some things, not everything. Let's be real. And I don't care if that's not Republican, Democrat, Independent. It doesn't matter. There are certain things at higher levels that the government needs to work through, and we don't need to know. Now, if it has to do with our health or our, income or whatever, yeah, we need to have some transparency on that. But this whole idea of, well, first of all, drain the swamp, which was funny because all he did was make the swamp thicker or deeper or whatever. So I'm sorry. So to fight with the Pope. So I was listening to somebody the other day who said that we talked about this before, Jonathan Capehart and David Brooks on PBS on where they do this. I can't remember what it's called, but they do it every week where they get together. David Brooks is he with the Republic now? Anyway, he's the conservative, and Jonathan Capehart's on MS now, used to be Washington Post. And they talk about issues, and it's PBS. So of course it's very calm and intelligent, and they're not screaming at each other or gotcha or anything like that. And I think it was David Brooks who can be sort of wry. And he's like, JD Vance has been, a Catholic for like 9.5 minutes, wrote a book about becoming a Catholic with a Methodist church on the cover, and then is telling the Pope he needs to mind his business and stay out of theology. So we talked about the horrible week, and Jim kind of alluded to this, the horrible week that JD had. So we fought with the Pope, and I'm sorry. We decided last week there are like 4 billion Catholics in the world, give or take a penny. You're not going to win in a fight.
You're not going to win an election to keep doing that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to win a fight against the Pope. You're just not. It's just saying the peace talks, and we talked about this a little bit last week, that we were, going to be shocked if he blew those or he didn't do well with those. He did not. So Trump's not sending him back. So he failed in his fight with the Pope. He failed with the peace talks. Did you see it, Turning Point, where he got in an argument with the college student?
I mean, it was a week for him. It was like one of those weeks Trump has, right? I mean, he was in the spotlight so much. Trump probably got pissed off because he was losing the spotlight, But I gotta say, the whole thing with the Pope has just been, you sit on the sidelines, you get your popcorn, and you go, this is going to be good. My neighbor asked me, what did I think of all that? And I told her, I think the Pope has been put in place intentionally, an American Pope, because right now we're sitting in the end of times with the Antichrist leading the country and the good Christ leading the world, and we're trying to figure out who's going to win.
Well, I mean, he killed the first one, so there's probably some tension.
Yeah, he does not have a good.
Well, but come on, it was really funny. Not his death, of course. As a person goes, like, religion aside, he seemed like a genuine, kind human being. What a religious leader is supposed to be, like, once you boil down all the policy and scripture and stuff. But just like the headlines, it's like, day after JD visited, it's like Pope's gone. I'm like, my generation's gonna have a field day with this, and we did.
Yeah,
so, making memes and whatnot. It's what we do best.
The memes have been amazing, by the way. I got to tell you that. There's one podcast I watched. I mean, they just put it all out.
Have you seen?
So the Lego company asked for a cease and desist, right? Which is hilarious.
Well, so I was going to say, did you see? I don't know if it came out this morning. I saw it this morning. It may have come out yesterday or the day before. Did you see the Lego smack from Iran on Erica Kirk?
Yeah. That was the one I watched this morning. I was just like,
oh my God. It is.
And that takes us to, we've got to talk about
this and go look it up.
We have got to talk about her. She has got the devil's eyes. There are scenes that I've seen when she's looking at you, you go, there's nothing in there but death.
I can contribute to this bit, that easily. But go ahead, Dan.
Please contribute to it.
Please go ahead.
No, I have met a very select few people in my life who make me uneasy with that look, with the eyes, where I'm just like, I don't think you have anything, like any empathy whatsoever. I think it's just gone, just a dark abyss. Like, God. So putting aside for a second this conspiracy that she was trying to get him whacked, meaning Charlie. We'll touch on that in a minute. The what was it? The YouTuber Drewski, did you see that where he did the makeup and he even put on the fake eyes like white chicks, and he did the whole get up. So
You haven't
he
seen
made
that one?
all right. So it's an
She tried to
overweight.
sue?
Well, yeah. Well, so it's an overweight. But sorry, just a descriptor. He's just a YouTuber who has like funny interactions with various groups. I'm bluffing because I don't know exactly what he does. But anyway, I don't. Big black guy put on white face with her eyes and wig and everything. Got as close to as he could to looking like her, and then mocks her with the whole like staring at the camera and doing the head tilt, and then walking out with the fireworks. It's like with the caption like, when you're POV, your husband just died, and she's walking out with the fireworks and stuff, and like she tried to sue him. So
yeah, well, yeah, he owned her on that. But no, it's interesting. Okay, so we've talked about the right, and Malcolm, I don't know if you've been listening, but we've talked a lot about the fact that the right, and especially MAGA, is post-hypocrisy. If they do it, it's if you do it, you got to go to jail. Well, how bad do you have to be for your husband to be killed, assassinated on video in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and then like 3 days later or 4 days later, and if I get the timeline wrong, I'm sorry, but it was less than a week, they do the big memorial service, there's fireworks, and she's glamorous and the whole nine, and kissing up on Trump and all of that kind of stuff, and I forgive you and all of that, and then like 2 days later she's running around, like the thing where she pops up out of the stage and she's living her best life. How bad do you have to be for MAGA to be like, I don't know about this woman, I don't know about this, this feels weird? And if you noticed, she's on a tour, she's not on the channel as much. They got so much backlash, she's like, I'll have other people do the show, I'll just go out and talk to people. Because, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not saying that she had something to do with it, but I will say she did not seem in any way, shape, or form upset that it happened.
No, she's become a prominent figure suddenly. She's something. She wasn't really anything.
She's on the board. She's on the board of what is it, West Point now, or something like that, in charge of morality. And
oh yeah,
there's talk that she'd run for office, and so you gotta love all that. I love that they've spun it that Charlie Kirk would have been the next president. That's the thing I'm like, wow, that was a big change. Oh, there was a couple
not a fucking chance.
Very conservative podcasts that were like, he was the next one. I'm like, wow, you really went far with that.
I'll say this though, and this is a departure slightly from what we're talking about, but I read this in a couple of credible places this week. So please understand, I'm saying I read this in credible places. I'm not saying this is credible yet, but I'll go there. There are, because Trump is so unpopular now, and it's like Jim and I've talked about this in the past. When you're a reactionary group of people, meaning the hardcore Trumpsies, you're reactionary. You're not just reactionary to one thing, you're reactionary. So it doesn't take very much to push them off in a direction. The Butler, the attempted assassination of Trump, where he got shot in the ear, and then 2 days later his ear had completely healed, even though we all know that cartilage cannot regenerate itself.
And that blood that was so red it didn't look real.
Right. Well, there are several fairly prominent podcasters, YouTubers, or whatever on the right that are coming out and saying he should just own the fact that that was bullshit to get us to vote for him. Like, that's starting to gain momentum. And all of us on the left were afraid to say it because we didn't want to sound like those nut jobs.
Well, I saw it.
Hey, I watched it live, and I said for sure.
Oh yeah, he just smacked his ear with one of those things because
breaks the capsule and the blood flows. It's a Hollywood trick.
What grazes his ear? There's literally. I'm sorry, Malcolm. I'm rambling.
Go ahead, Malcolm. Yeah.
There's not even.
You have to fight for your space here, Malcolm.
Oh, I know. I'm just here for some added zest.
I can mute your dad if you want.
It's okay.
He grew up with me. He's aware.
Yeah. It's cool. I saw a meme recently where it was like, it's got to be fake because Evander Holyfield has more missing from his ear still when Tyson bit it off than,
It's true. It's true.
Well, yeah, because within a couple of weeks he was on Time magazine, right, or something. And there was a shot from that side of his face, and he sat there and you go,
by the way, there's a hell of a photograph at the end with his fist in the air. I'm like, I'm sorry, regardless of party, that's kind of badass. just the optics of it, like that is pretty cool.
I mean, it was very well staged.
Yeah, it was staged because, I mean, look, we talked about this last week. You know, Trump can tell people that green is blue and blue is green and up is down and don't believe what you see and don't believe what you hear. Just believe me. He can say all that shit, but he can't change the laws of physics. And if you're shot or you're hurt in the ear, your cartilage cannot grow back. And he wore that stupid ass bandage that all of the Trumpies wore with him in solidarity, which was still one of the craziest fucking things I've ever seen. They're like, we're not a cult as we're wearing an ear bandage for our God gig. But they did all that. And then literally like and I could get this wrong, but I'm not too far off. 2 or 3 days later, he takes the bandage off and everything's perfect.
I mean, if Kennedy could have got up from the car after he got shot, he would have been made king of the world.
Right. I'm like, dude, you okay. Yeah.
We don't want to listen. We don't want to believe these things happen. Let me tell you what, this presidency, if anything, has proven that everything can happen, and it will. I mean, let's talk about, hey, Chuck, have you closed the Strait of Hormuz? I personally closed it today. So, how are you?
Have you not looked at the news today?
Oh, did you close it?
No, Iran.
Oh, you opened it again? Would you stop closing and opening the Strait?
Closed it again this morning because they don't like the way the talks are going.
I don't think it's so. What I love is there's actual sites you can go to track ships. You know that. You're in the industry. You sell cruises. Never seen traffic stop going around the Strait or the Strait of Hormuz or the Strait STRAIGHT of Hormuz, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So kind of you wonder what we're being played for. I want to know more about what's going on with the planes that are flying around. If we're going to get into conspiracies, let's talk about that one.
Well, let's okay. If you want to talk about, and I didn't bring this up
topic today.
We all
go everywhere.
Aren't we always?
We drift.
Probably.
We're going through the Strait of Hormuz right now. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
The topic is the shit show of this world right now. No, I didn't want to get into this because I didn't want to. I wanted to play it. I wanted to see it play out a little bit before I threw my 2 cents in. Do you remember the Easter, what Trump called the Easter miracle, when we got that pilot back and we went in Iran and we rescued that pilot? When in your life, when in our lives, has Donald Trump done anything ever that he could boast about and not taken it to the nth degree? Meaning, where the fuck is this pilot? Any other time in history, if a pilot shot down or we rescue somebody, we put them all over the TV. We give them a medal. We do all. Where's this pilot? What I think is, and I mean this because he shit the bed Easter morning with, you crazy bastards and open the fucking Strait and all of that. The Easter miracle happened like 2 hours later. I think it was just to deflect from that somebody in the White House came to him and said, dude, you have gone too far, or something along those lines. And we need to put something positive out. So let's talk about, because why else would they not parade this person everywhere? They always have.
Sure enough.
I mean, good God, talking to one of my coworkers, talking about Kid Rock. And I'm like, this guy says he doesn't read the news, and that's fine. He said he's done with all that stuff. And he's talking about Kid Rock. I said, Kid Rock hasn't been musically relevant in 25 years, and that's being generous. And I said, he wouldn't be anywhere. You wouldn't hear his name anymore if he wasn't political. He's like, well, I don't think he's political. I'm like, excuse me? Okay, sure. All right. And it's the same thing. So if Kid Rock and Elon Musk and Kanye West, everybody's invited to the White House, but not this pilot who got shot down and rescued, don't buy it.
It is this is just one of those many stories. Somewhere 25 years from now, we won't. Well, you might be. I don't expect it. But in 25 years, when these Freedom of Information list things out, people start asking. I think the best team I saw is we'll look back and say Trump and Netanyahu were basically Stalin and Hitler.
Well, I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week. Malcolm, let me ask you a question because this is great. This is serious.
I'm still here. It's okay. I'm kidding. So.
Okay, folks, just as for our people listening, you are in Life in the Baggage Claim, and we are outnumbered with Longerbeams today, so welcome to the show. Please like and subscribe if you think Malcolm's handsome. We'll give him a boost and tell him he was here, because he doesn't think he's here or something like that. But anyways, welcome to our show. We're talking about everything there is to talk about this week, off topic and on topic. And I promise you, we're still going to get to the separation of church. We're just working on it.
Oh, yes, we will. Yes, we will. Okay, so Malcolm, honest question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jim and I grew up in a world where if you were talking politics, you couldn't say, if you wanted to stay relevant or not get labeled anti-Semitic, you couldn't say anything negative about Israel. You just couldn't. That's a world that Jim and I grew up in. You were called anti-Semitic or, oh my God, what do you probably are a Holocaust denier. It's like, well, time the fuck out. I'm just talking about Netanyahu. I've been reading and hearing that your generation seems to be a lot more aware or a lot more able to call Israel out. And do you have an opinion or anything about Israel, or what are you hearing from your friends and folks?
So a few things come to mind. So short answer, my initial thought was, oh, that's surprising, because that's a similar attitude that's going around right now, obviously, where if you're critical in any way of the Israel, the country, the military state that is synonymous with the Jewish people as a whole, of which there are millions. And I keep having to say to certain people that I work with, like when they say, said people are to blame for blah, 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 I'm like, you mean Israel? Like, you've got to guide them and be like, no,
It's
it's
two
different things, dude.
Israel's just the Jewish country you hear all the time, right? And that's not true.
No.
Yeah, Malcolm, and I'm glad to hear that still comes up. This is a struggle that I've always had. It's like, no, it's not the country of Jews, it's the country of Israel. Jewish is faith, Israel's country.
I mean, just like Iran or Iraq, you wouldn't make synonymous with all Muslims unless that has happened.
Well, no, you're right. Iran and Iraq was at war. Nobody was like those damn Muslims unless they were talking about both. And
I was thinking 9/11 came to mind, where that is the scapegoat for all extremism, and therefore
except that was probably the Saudis. So
correct.
Yeah. But what was the second half of your question? I was trying to recall.
Just are you here? What is the people in your generation, again, small data set, but the people that you hang out with, the people what is their impression of Israel in general?
Right. It didn't take long. What was it, October 7th of 2 years ago? God, it's been a while. The retaliation, it didn't take long for us to be like, that would be a genocide by definition. That, like, the bodies that were getting racked up and the indiscriminate bombings of like hospitals and schools, like, I don't know, fuck it, point here. And then, that literally, I don't mean to sound so crass, but like, that's how callous it was, where it was just like on the news, we're like seeing the bodies and the ruins and stuff, and Netanyahu being like, I mean, we've got to eliminate them. Sorry. It's like, dude, I don't know. So yeah, by and large, at least the left, unfortunately, it's like half, probably more than half of my generation calls it what it is, which is by definition a genocide, a mass slaughter of a particular group of people. I'll admit it took me a long time to, I don't want to say agree with that, because that's such a loaded, like, black and white, yes or no, are you on this side or not? But it just, the misinformation coming from some news sources being like, well, I mean, that's just, there were a couple, bad actors over here, so they had to.
It's sort of what we do too, right? It's not very much different than how the U.S. acts, so we don't like this.
Yeah. No, but it's hard to look in the mirror. So.
Well, it's when you've been force fed for decades that one side is bad, one side is good. It's hard to get past that unless you have other information, so to speak. And I'm embarrassed to say, and Jim and I have been talking about this lately, I think I talked about it last week. I'm embarrassed to say that at my age, it took me so long to figure out how, and I'll use this word and I'll get yelled at and it's fine, but how insidious AIPAC is. They did and when I say they, I don't remember who it was. It was a non-partisan group. It was like one of those think tanks that just bean counters. And they were saying that their estimation is that 94% of Congress takes from AIPAC. And when I say money, I mean money. Jared Moskowitz the other day was going on and on and on about we have to protect Israel and this and that. And the other thing. He's taken $1.5 million from CPAC in the last year and a half. So of course, if given the option of defending Israel or any other country in the Middle East, if you've been given $1.5 million by Israel, who the hell are you going to defend? I mean, and you would hope that these people would get beyond that and, like Malcolm said, call it for what it is. I mean, I love the fact that, and I mean this, I'm very proud of the fact that you said it took you a long time to get to genocide. I'm glad you didn't just throw that term around. I'm glad nobody does. Well, people do, but I'm glad some people think it through and everything else. But it's when you look at all of the things that the Israeli government has done in that area, and then we're being force-fed this idea that they're our only ally in the region. It's like, they're not our ally. Trump had to.
Propaganda this country feeds itself that we don't talk about. Right. How much we are shown a certain level of this is what happens, but it's propaganda. It's no different than what Korea shows its citizens or Russia shows its citizens. It's favored towards you. And that is actually the big fear on AI. When AI starts to learn how to do some of that and how to make the news and facts so obscured, then it's going to be whoever has the biggest AI power wins.
Really, real quick, I think part of the turning point for, and I mean it in its own, like, as it were, not the organization. I think part of the turning point for my demographic and like my age group in this whole thing has been when the dumbass moderator, I don't know how they thought this was a good idea. They were trying to be sly in the New York's gubernatorial race when they had, what was it? 4 or 5, 6 candidates up there, and it's like, oh, where would you go visit? Like once you get elected, and everyone's like, Israel, 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 and then Mamdani's like, dude, I'm staying here. You guys are like puppets. Clearly, what's going on? He didn't say it, but and we were all watching like, honesty, thank you, God. So like, I don't care what his religious beliefs are, because I mean, but like I personally, I'm not religious myself, and it'd be refreshing to have someone admit they're not religious and run for office. But unfortunately, the chances of them getting elected are pretty low. So that aside, it's like seeing Mamdani just be honest and be like, "Dude, I'm here to do my job, not take Israel AIPAC's money, and you guys clearly are." Like Cuomo, like just is very obvious.
Point. I think there is a change going on. There's a movement of you can be religious, but it doesn't have to be because there's more and more people showing up in the races that are like, I'm Christian, but I'm not going to force that on you. Or, yeah, I'm this and I'm not going to force that on you. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to do the right thing, the manage and govern and things like that. It's going to be a long time, but I do think we'll see more of that.
I'm going to argue with you a little bit. I think, I think you're 100% right, but I think what we've been force-fed in this country, and I think it's just, okay, so let me back up. I'm going to make my point, but I blame all of this on 3 networks. And let me explain. Let me explain what I mean.
Which 3?
Explain. I'm blaming the media. There was a shift, and I'll explain. When Jim and I were growing up, Malcolm, I know you've heard this, but when Jim and I were growing up, there were ABC, CBS, and NBC. This was before. Well, this is before PBS. Thank you. And this was before cable and all of that. So when all these networks went
before cable, damn.
Yeah, well, when all these networks went to the government back in the 50s, when TV really started, they made a deal that they could advertise 23 hours a day, but they had to set aside an hour every night for news. There couldn't be any advertisement. It had to be good. Okay. And that's where we get names like Cronkite and Morley Safer and all of these people. And I'm going to blow it and go there. When we turned on the news, now it was interesting. I would think it would be fair, and Jim would probably agree with me. My dad was an NBC News guy. Some people like CBS, some ABC, but you were basically going to hear the same things. It wasn't weird. It wasn't commentary. It was news. Chuck, Jim, and Malcolm spoke online today at such and such time. Malcolm was wearing a black sweatshirt. It was fact. I mean, it was, and if it was opinion, they set it aside and said, no.
They said, this is this editorial thing.
Yeah. Here's the opinion of Jim Houck.
Just like the newspapers.
Right. So we grew up with these newsmen and women being definitive. If you needed to know what was going on in the world, that's what you did.
Trustworthy.
Well, then Fox News, or Fox Channel, the Fox Channel kicked in. So we had 4 networks and PBS. And then when cable kicked in and CNN and all that, it all went, everybody had it. But I think the boomers, and I think our Generation X still felt like if it's on the network, or if it's on a CNN or Fox News or something like that, it's news. And what has happened is, as we all know now, and I think your generation growing up more with the internet and CBS, NBC, ABC, even Fox News being something off to the side. There's no Fox News in our house. There wasn't a shit ton of CNN in our house. I mean, there was a little bit, but we got our news from other sources. So I think it's much easier for you guys to not
it's also easier to
toward a shotgun approach to media.
Yeah, it's like a boiling frog principle for boomers who grew up like trusting one face. So then they associate that the network behind that face to be like, oh yeah, oh okay, yeah, like
And the sad part is,
it's a joke now. Like boomers watching Fox News, they'll believe it, and then they'll also,
my dad was told.
Yeah, well, and then they'll also believe the AI scammer that calls them and says they need their bank information. So, as
and the sad part about it was those
random dig at boomers. Sorry, go on.
No, you're right. The sad part is and I think Jim will agree with me, the people I'm talking about, Reasoners and the
Hennings and
all of these
Brokaw,
Brokaw, thank you. They were trustworthy because they were honestly journalists. And you don't remember, or you probably don't remember this. Brokaw, or not Brokaw. What was the other one? The one that got fired for not having his third source. The one that was Dan Rather.
Dan Rather, very trusted face.
Rainbow shot out of his ass. If Dan Rather said it, you could believe it because he had a whole team of journalists behind him and people fact checking. About 20 years ago, he got fired because he did 20 years, might be 30 years ago now.
He took his own following after that, though. He created a whole world for himself. It's been very much watched.
Right, but I'm saying he was on NBC, ABC. He was on one of the big news channels.
He was 60 Minutes for
60 Minutes, right. He put out a news story. They found out that they hadn't completely fact-checked it. Part of it were wrong, and they fired him. Can you imagine?
Can you do that today?
Journalist gets fired for saying something that's not 100% accurate?
No.
Well, the world of journalism isn't what it used to be. These are talking heads now. They look pretty. That's it.
Well, it's not journalism. It's gotten to the point where it's all opinion. And we've talked about this before. It's probably still on YouTube, and I know Malcolm has watched it, or I'm pretty sure you watched it because I told you about it. It was a short documentary that came out called Outfoxed. I think I showed it to you. If I didn't, I apologize. And what they were talking about when Roger Ailes took over Fox News, they quickly turned it into opinion and sensationalism. So what they would say is the morning show, one of the guys on the morning show would say, I don't know, I think Barack Obama might be a Muslim. I don't have any facts, but I think he might actually be a closet Muslim. No. And then the lunchtime show would say, some people are saying that Barack Obama is a Muslim. And then the evening show is like, people are saying it, it's out there, he is a Muslim. Mm-hmm. You're quoting yourself, and you're quoting the guy in the morning who's floated it as a, I'm just asking questions. And they did that as a business model. So unfortunately,
something we know now.
Right. Well, unfortunately, most of the news that we consume, the commercial news that we consume, has become mostly opinion.
Yeah. And I can't even I mean, the left is not without blame either. Like I can't. These days, all I see CNN reporting on are they're just baffled by look how unpopular Trump is. Here's another poll. Every fucking week, I'm like, you can stop. I get it. You're CNN. You don't have to convince your viewers of that. They're already on that side. You can stop.
That's the most frustrating. Exhausting. It's the whole we're not going to float idea. Someone's going to file papers. Someone's going to file impeachment. I'm going to go reading these things live. I just file the goddamn paper. Stop talking about it and do it. We talk about everything to death now, and it's like.
Well, I was thinking about prepping with in scare quotes for this podcast with how little informed I am. I'm kidding, but I was thinking about JD Vance and politicians as a whole, and I'm like, it doesn't have to be such a grift, but it's so difficult to have a stable path and career in life, especially speaking from experience. I'm all over the place, and I have been since I graduated. You know what I mean? So I feel like when people lock into something where they know they can stay forever, they'll say and do whatever it takes just to get that salary. And so, for example, I'm thinking about Pelosi, can't stand her. Very clearly, inside trader is what came to mind first. But there's literally an app out there now. I don't know if you guys are aware of it. That it's called I think it's called Duo. Pretty sure what it does, or Dub. Sorry, it's called Dub. DUB. So what it does is match your investments. If you choose to invest X amount, doesn't matter how much, it'll stratify that amount across the exact investments, fractionally, that famous people have. So it'll show you Donald Trump's breakdown, for example, and how he's doing with the stock market. And it'll be do you want to invest exactly like him? He seems to keep winning somehow, wink, wink. And then it'll do it for you. Pelosi's at the top. She's got she's outperformed the S&P by 150 to 250%, something ridiculously stupid like that. And I'm like, I wonder what. And some people be like, she's just amazing at trading. It's no. It's either you're gambling, or you have at that level you're either gambling.
Insider stuff doesn't apply to politicians. That's the sad part.
Yeah. Well, my generation's a lot quicker witted, whatever, than the older generations like to give us credit for, because it's we see what they're up to. It's just we have to be more creative to fight back, so to speak, because it's what do you do? What are you supposed to do? Exactly. Not to be depressing. Sorry, go on.
No, I don't think it's. What's funny is I always laugh. I say it's easy for someone young to see something with the old folks and say, well, we were young and we are old. We are both, right? But I think the truth is, bridging with folks who are younger helps you understand and learn faster. Because honestly, you're doing things about, I'm like, this app exists. I didn't know that existed. But it's not in my circle to even think of, right? Because I don't have people that, we don't look at apps like that. Your generation looks for the apps to solve problems. And I'm finding that, now doing other things like driving and things like that for a living, I'm finding other tools that I didn't know I could use before that sort of change your perspective and keep you informed and enlightened as you go. And finding ones that aren't biased is hard, right? That's the challenge. And so I do look to my younger friends to say, what are you doing about this? How are you looking at this? Honestly, it's the other way I'm going to get the information.
Well, I'll tell you what I love is the fact that I didn't know that you may have told me about it. And if you did, I apologize, but I didn't realize that app existed either. But we talked about this last week, a couple weeks ago, whatever. Someone, and I heard a long news story about it this week.
Someone saying, I'm just kidding.
What's that?
Someone has said, I've heard.
No. I think it was. I think it was. No, sorry. No, I think I was listening to Young Turks, but what they were talking about is, and Jim and I had talked about this a couple of weeks ago that I had read about on, I think it was AP, that someone keeps shorting or longing, that's probably not the term, but oh well, oil right before Donald Trump would close the strait, open the strait, close the strait, open the strait, whatever. And someone has made billions with a B off of that. And somebody did the math and looked at it, and it's one account. Now, nobody knows what account it is. I can almost guarantee you that account has close proximity to Donald Trump. I'm not saying it's him or his family, but somebody's got close proximity, because once is a coincidence, twice is an anomaly, 3, 4, 5 times is just fucking fact. And it keeps happening. Like 15 to 20 minutes before Trump would post, we're getting ready to, we've got it. We struck a deal with Iran. Everything's fine. We're going to be out in a couple of days. And oil would, sink. Somebody would make a bunch of money on shorting oil.
9% yesterday, right? It's probably back up today.
Right. And somebody is playing the stock market to benefit from what Trump is going to post 15 to 20 minutes before he posts it.
But no one's going to investigate it because they're all in bed with it.
Well, who's going to investigate it? The
SEC should be looking into it, right? That's what I'm saying. They're all in bed with this whole thing. Everybody's making so much money right now off what's going on. That's in that team. They're not going to fight themselves. It's too easy to take. Right? Meanwhile, let's talk about a couple other things. We've got some, my little state down here has got some trouble with some Republicans. We've got 2 that are now embroiled in big sex offenses cases of having affairs with members of their staff. And they are both being forced to resign, which is 2 Republicans out of the House.
They're gone. They both resigned yesterday. Yep.
Talk about the woes when they happen, right? It's like the wind blows through and you go, holy shit, that just happened. So, Mike Johnson's losing his little grip. I mean, the poor little guy, and I mean little, he just gets tired. It's just losing capabilities.
I don't know, but it just amazes me that both of these guys, and look, they're both assholes. If the story, let me back up. If the stories that are out there are true, and they probably are, or they both wouldn't have, they wouldn't have walked away from.
Probably even worse.
Right, because they wouldn't have walked away from such a cushy job. Like Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz bolted because we were getting ready to learn a lot worse things. But anyway, these two...
It's bad enough. Yeah.
Right. These 2 assholes walk away from Congress. Great. We still have a president who was convicted of rape. We still have several members of his cabinet who were buddy-buddy with Jeffrey Epstein, and they're chugging along.
Did you see the Epstein viral video that went out about him shooting Trump with his legs held up? And
no.
My God, you've got to find out. He's like baby Trump. Raise your legs higher, Donald.
God. Well, all things humor, I just ingest because I can't help it. Like it's our way of coping. On that note, very, very recently. Okay, are you familiar with the video game Five Nights at Freddy's? Either of you?
Yes.
Dad, I know you are because I used to play it in high school. So it's just a bunch of stupid jump scares, and like the premise is, for anyone listening who's even older than you two and doesn't know what I'm talking about, you're taking care of the, you're taking care
of. What's that disconnect button?
Too late now. An amusement park with like akin to Chuck E. Cheese for 5 nights, obviously, and you got to watch the animatronics or they're going to come kill you. So you got like an iPad that you can check the cameras, and then once you put it down, you're at risk of getting jump scared. And some dude, some genius, decided to make 5 Nights at Epstein's, and the premise is the island, and it's got pictures of every room, and you see Epstein's like little poorly snapshotted cutout, like peeking behind the walls and stuff. and then and Trump's on there too, and it's fucked up, but it's really you're both laughing because it's
this
funny.
Is the beauty of the time that all of this media is just priceless, and it's
you need it
building its entire set of content to follow.
It's incredible. It's the darkest, most disgusting, depressing piece of news we've had in like a long time, and it's not over yet. But like our generation's like, okay, well, if you're not going to be honest with us and you're not going to like give closure to these survivors, it's like fuck it, we'll just cope with humor. So, and all these news cycles are like talking about how they had to ban the website because it was an open source game or something, like ban the website in schools because kids were playing.
I mean, it's as good as the Trump is Jesus.
But
Trump is Jesus was a good one this week, and then all the follow-ups that cast him to hell, blew his head off. I mean, it's like there's just been so much of this that you can't help. I just want to cheer them on.
And constantly keep this going. We can't let this fall from the top of mind of the American people that we are being ruled by this Epstein class. Like the people running our government right now.
But I think I'm going to tell you what, Iran's going to be the country that lets it all. They probably got it already. They're going to be the country that can eventually spill the beans.
Okay, all right.
That's my take.
My funniest moment of the week.
Yes.
That you saw, everybody saw the Trump doctor where he's healing the guy with the light and the
Jesus, yeah.
Did you see where Jon Stewart was talking about that?
Yeah, he said it looked like him.
Everyone on the table looks just like Jon Stewart. And he's like,
although he said it's Epstein, but it did look like him. They've had a field day with this stuff.
Okay, Jim.
So I'm going to tell you what, my Baggy of the week. Goes to our illustrious, amazing, well-spoken, super argumentative Vice President, JD Vance. There's no other person more deserving of the Baggy than a man who goes up against the Pope, a college student, and fails in Iran.
I can't think of another person this week who checks off more of the Baggy boxes than JD. He is. I mean, what's the Dr. Seuss book? This JD Vance's no good, horrible, bad week. Whatever, somebody made a joke. No good, horrible, bad day or whatever it is. Yeah, somebody made a joke about it. Okay, here's your happy ending. So Malcolm, in honor of you.
Oh, wait.
This is our happy ending for the week.
How the hell is it? Okay, all right.
It all comes back around. I can't believe Deep Purple are here swoon the hard rock drummer Sanai Takachi, whom listeners may know from her other job, the Prime Minister of Japan. Indeed, the aged rockers were in Japan recently on tour, returning to a country where they recorded their critically acclaimed live album, Live in Japan. The band attended a face-to-face meeting with the head of state, who, last October, became the first female leader in the country's history. A huge fan, she bought the band's Machine Head album containing the seminal hard rock track Smoke on the Water while she was in grade school all the way back in 1971. I can't believe Deep Purple are here, Takachi said, smiling as she greeted the musicians. According to the BBC, Takachi played keyboards in a Deep Purple tribute band before picking up the drums while at university. She remained behind the kit ever since, playing in a heavy metal band, and she's known for carrying multiple sets of drumsticks in case she broke them, which happened a lot. So the first ever woman prime minister of Japan plays drums in a heavy metal band. See, it came around. You wondered. You were concerned. It came around.
Okay.
So, Malcolm, how's your time been here on the channel this time? Better than the last time I grilled you?
Wasn't taking it personally, but yeah, it's fun.
Could you would you want to be a regular here on occasion, get us a monthly check-in? Do you think we can convince you to come back more?
Yeah, I'm not slowing you two down that much. Sure.
I think we can keep going. Can you keep up? Because these old guys move.
Yeah.
Mouths at least, yeah.
Wow.
Zing! All right, this younger.
I'm starting to think that Chuck. I'm starting to think that he's the youth we need.
Oh man. If nothing else, Jimmy's going to keep us honest.
Yeah. Wait, honest? Well, listen, another great week. We didn't get through everything that went on, and frankly, there's so much that happens every week. I don't even know how to. I started taking notes, and then I just finally put my pen down. It's just not gonna. There'll be enough to talk about without it. It's gonna continue. I think that my biggest concern right now, as I look out on this stuff, is if we get rid of what we consider bad now, what's next? How much worse is it? Because it's not going to get better.
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about this, and going back to JD Vance, who we've has been the main focus of what we're talking about. Is let's say Trump quit today. Let's just say he got enough. JD Vance pardoned him, and he hopped on his horse and rode off into the sunset.
Would Vance back to the island or whatever? Yeah.
This is why I love. Would we be better? Would we be better off? And the reason I ask that is, yes, we wouldn't have to listen to Trump anymore, thank God. But JD Vance scares me more because A, he's obviously more intelligent than Trump, which is not a huge benchmark, but he's obviously more intelligent than Trump. He's more subtle than Trump, like we just talked about. And I think a lot of people, if he were president, would be like, oh, it's so great to not hear somebody yelling all the time and saying all sorts of crazy shit. And he does, but like Malcolm says, he does it in a passive aggressive way. So it doesn't infect your ears. You're not like, shut up. But I mean,
highlighter sales.
Right. You think
Fabulous. Yeah.
I mean, but you're not like, oh my God, shut up. But once you think about what he says, if you take the time to think about what he says, you're like, what the fuck? What is he saying? So I think the only way we're going to get back to some semblance of this country being this country, and I mean this, is just to get rid of all of the MAGAs like all of them. Because, if JD Vance took over today, who do we think he would get rid of? Who do we think he would keep? If Stephen Miller stays, we're in the same place when it comes to immigration. If Tulsi Gabbard stays, we're right back into whatever nonsense she's doing, and she and JD Vance remind me a lot of each other, because she was a liberal Democrat and then she was independent, and now she's a Trumpy, and he said, Trump is Hitler, and now he's kissing Trump's ass. It's those kind of chameleonic politicians scare the hell out of me. And that's why I've always respected. I know Malcolm's hero, not hero, but Bernie Sanders. Love him or hate him, Bernie's saying the same shit he was saying in the 70s. Like, he is a man of principle. You may not like his principle, but he's a man of principle.
And there's something to be said about that. If we can figure out as a country how to get back to principles.
Well, and he's a practicing.
That's a long way back nowadays.
Well, and he's the only practicing Jew in Congress saying not another dime to Israel, because they're perpetuating genocide.
Yeah, unlike Bernie, I don't want him to run again, because he tends to just dilute the vote a little too much sometimes,
Well, not only that, he's like,
but I'd like him to be really supporting the right ticket.
Well, that's what I think. How old is Bernie? 92, I think.
Really?
He's up there. My point is, if he ran, he'd be like 93 or 94 as president. And we've talked about this in the past, and I'm not being ageist, because I'm coming up on old fart pretty quick myself. Malcolm would say I'm already there. But, no, I think we need younger people.
What's what happens, right? We go down this path of really old men who have this need to bring back what they consider the good old days. And my dad was the same way. Wanted it back the way it was when he was young, and it was not going to happen. Then you get the young folks like even Clinton and Obama going the other way, right? Protestants, all that. And then we'll swing back again, right? So we're probably ready for our next couple of young ones. I want it to be bourgeois, show bad. I can't tell you how much that would make me happy.
Bernie Sanders is a young 84, and if he were to run and become president, he would be 86 years old, 86 and a half.
I think they should do the Biden. Well, they should do the Biden move and tap him as VP, honestly, in my opinion.
Or just tap him as the senior level of advisor. But put somewhere in your group that he's giving you guidance that you trust him.
I'd make him White House chief of staff.
What do you take it though? You'd have to be the right person to get him to take it. For sure.
I think at his age, I think he would. To be that close to power without having to deal with all the bullshit, I think he might, because the chief of staff, if you don't know, if those of you listening, the chief of staff is in most ways more important than the vice president. The chief of staff keeps, like, he or she is the gatekeeper for the president. So I think if, like, special interests and all the things that Bernie's against and everything else, he could keep him like. Anyway, long story short, you're right. Jim and I've talked about it. We would love to see Buttigieg. We would love to see younger folks. That's the other thing. If JD Vance runs, he's going to be like 44, like the youngest. I think
younger.
Like the youngest.
I don't see him doing it.
I don't think he's got a chance.
No, I don't even see him. Has he claimed that he wants to run yet?
He's saying
he can't, right? Because he can't. In front of Trump, you can't say you have any desire to do anything as Trump.
Like the whole what a lot of right wingers like to read, like 48 Laws of Power shit. It's like, don't outshine the master ever. Like you can't make daddy unhappy, because
And you definitely can't do it with Trump, because Trump will knock you down. That's like Jim and I were talking about, Malcolm. I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but it was like, why did he pick JD Vance? Well, it's the same reason he picked Mike Pence. But they're both so milquetoast, they are never going to outshine him ever. And they were both such sycophants that if he smacked them down a little bit, they would get back in line. And there's some buzz around DC this week saying that there are some handlers and people who are whispering JD Vance ear, you might want to take it down a notch because you're being Trump's too aware of you.
Well, and what I think didn't I know a lot of this is off the cuff and we're just some of it's stream of consciousness like on the podcast. No,
every week.
No, it's just like my opening statement or whatever. I feel like I didn't get all my thoughts across and like coherently, but I guess I'm in awe of anyone who can like repackage whatever that maniac says every single day, 365 for a whole. Because I mean, he went from being on record on video with even more eyeliner somehow saying and like chubby face saying like I'm a never Trump guy, and then talk his way out of that into the vice president. I don't know how you do that. So as someone who majored in English and literature and just communication, I guess you could say, I'm just props for holding your own with that madness, but it also like disgusting human being, repulsive,
when you kiss the beast.
Yeah it's I mean, heavy lies, the crown adjacent or whatever you want to say. It's rough, I'm sure.
Just if you look at the entire Trump administration, in the first Trump administration, those who didn't fully have their nose up Trump's ass end up not being in the White House anymore. So what they talked, the adults in the room, the expertise or whatever. And we talked about the death of expertise on this show. But yeah, I mean, you've got to completely be a supplicant, and you've got to completely give in to every one of Trump's whims. I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this, and this is a very qualified feel sorry for. But I almost feel sorry for Caroline Leavitt, because the last couple of weeks, she has come out and said, president means this, because that's what the president told her. And then 20 minutes later, the president's says the exact opposite. And I don't feel for, she knows she sold her soul to him, but I'm saying, can you imagine being a press secretary and the president saying, yeah, I'm going to say ABC. Great. President says ABC, and how dare you, CNN, say different, da-da-da-da. And 20 minutes later, president says XYZ.
30 posts on Truth Social between them, too. So.
Right. I mean, and I don't feel sorry for her because she bought into that bullshit. But it's like, I just from the job point of view, I can't imagine being somebody press secretary.
Well, where do you go? Like, it taints everything. He taints everything. Where do you go from there?
No, you'll still get there'll be companies out there that'll be thrilled at. Oh, yeah. It's still
Pam Bondi already has a job in a very, very exclusive conservative law office.
There's so many conservative organizations that look at you as the goal. You bring something with you because you have influence and you know people, whether that influence was good or bad. But with that, we've crossed the hour mark, and something tells me that we could just keep going today.
Oh, yeah.
Because Malcolm brings all the great new energy into us. So, Malcolm, thank you for being here. Appreciate you being part of the show. Chuck, as always, a pleasure to shoot the political breeze with you and wander around the globe as we go through things. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you like and subscribe and share with your friends. We're growing. We're trying to grow faster. Make a point of doing something for us. It doesn't cost you a damn thing. Just say you like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week here at Life in the Package.
Pleasure as always, Malcolm. Love you, son. Everyone, we'll see you next time.
See y'all. Thanks.